But we're also great to have Mr. Stephen Bardo back with us from VTN, Bardo's Breakdown. Man, you've had all kinds of stuff. You still doing the food when you stop around and visit the restaurants?
No, COVID kind of shut that down, Jim. I really enjoy doing that.
Let's restart that, man. That looked good.
Yeah, I think I may try to get that in the off season.
Just add it to the media portfolio. You got a portfolio going now.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Oh, it does. You've got a lot of great content. Bardo's Breakdown is one of those that you've got out where you well, I've seen previews on teams, but is this a weekly thing that you're doing?
You know what, Jim? What happens is I try to go Mondays at 6 p.m. Central Time, and the first couple of weeks I've had games on those days, so I can't do it. But we got 10,000 on the platform on Facebook that tune in, and we have a lot of fun with it. I've got very knowledgeable Big Ten fans that keep me on my toes, like the Indiana Hoosiers fans keep me on my toes. So it's always a lot of fun.
Oh, I promise you, some are going to have some comments about that freshman, not all freshman list. They've been fired up about that. But great content for you to go watch, especially just Big Ten across the board. If you're keeping up with the teams, whether if you're an Indiana fan, whoever, they're playing every team in the Big Ten. So Steve will be talking about each and every one of them. So that's some additional great content for you to take in as you go through the basketball season. Recently, you put out your freshman, I don't know, what is it, early list as of right now. One thing that was glaring to me is neither Malik Renew or Jalen Hood-Schifino from Indiana on that. And I know an Indiana fans stand up, but Jalen Hood-Schifino is probably the one because Malik's not starting. But Jalen Hood-Schifino to me is definitely not only one of the top freshmen in the league, but he's going to be one of the top guards, I think.
I agree. And, for all the Indiana fans, here's what I'll tell you. So I didn't communicate with my producer the right way. I should have said freshman under the radar or freshman to look out for, because when Indiana is good, we're going to talk about Indiana ad nauseum, right? We're going to talk about Indiana every week. We're going to talk about Jalen Hood-Schifino and Malik Renew. And that clip that I sent you from Bardo's Breakdown, I kind of shared that I think Jalen Hood-Schifino is one and done. And I was very surprised at how talented Malik Renew is. Early returns, I'm more impressed with him than I am Hood-Schifino. So I stated earlier, and I made him, like I said, me and my producer didn't coordinate quite the best. I take that. I own that. What I should have said is some freshmen to watch out for that may be under the radar. So I love both Jalen Hood-Schifino and Malik Renew. I'm looking forward to seeing Jalen kind of get comfortable. He doesn't look quite as comfortable yet as Malik does, but I love both of those players, and they are definitely not only probably the best freshmen in the conference, but I believe if they can come up to their potential, they might be top 15 of all players in the league by the end of the season.
I don't disagree. And Malik, I agree with you there as well. When I watch him play, he always just looks like he's playing against some juniors in high school. Like his mentality is that he's just playing with some juniors in high school and he's doing his thing. It doesn't matter who he is playing against. It doesn't seem to change him. And that is one of the things that makes a player great is their mentality. He certainly seems to have that. I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, no, he's special, and he knows where his bread is buttered. He's very comfortable on that, right block, face coming to the middle with his left hand. He's a very underrated passer. So I think that he will be an X factor for the Indiana in terms of how far they can go in the conference and how far they can go in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I don't want to get Kevin in here in a second. I was looking a minute ago at so tomorrow night they have their first true test of the season as they'll head up to Xavier to take on the Musketeers. But Indiana's depth is really deep. I mean, they are legitimately 9 to 10 deep. Yep. They've got 10 guys that are averaging over 5 points a game now, and some of those are the starters. So it's the depth. They truly have it this year. And I think Malik Renew is a key to that, because you take Race Thompson or Trace Jackson off the floor, well, in comes Malik Renew. Not many teams have that coming off the bench. A lot of teams don't have that on the floor.
No, I agree. And so you talk about Malik Renew coming off the bench, but you're also talking about Jordan Geronimo, who's playing very, very well. So now you don't wear out Race and Trace. They can get adequate rest, or if there's foul trouble or if there's an injury, the play doesn't drop off as drastically as it does from other schools around the league. Like we saw Michigan State go in and knock off Kentucky in double overtime, but they were fortunate they didn't get in foul trouble because they don't have the type of depth that Indiana does. And so I think that depth that you're referring to is going to I don't know that they're going to be able to play go 10 deep all season long. Sometimes that gets shortened up a little bit. It might be 9, but the depth is there. And I think last year when Trey Galloway got hurt, it kind of hurt the Hoosiers coming down the stretch. Well, now you've got so much depth that an injury here or there won't necessarily hurt you on your rotation.
Steven, I was going to ask you about Michigan State. How much did we underestimate them? I mean, they took Gonzaga to the wire. Now they beat Kentucky. Is this just another case of Izzo doing his magic, or what do you think about this team long term?
Well, Kevin, when you look at the team, they're veteran. You know, Hogard, Walker, Hauser, Malik Hall. But the key is Madi Sissoko. He's come out of nowhere. He wasn't doing this last season, running and catching lobs and drop step jump hooks and things like that. He wasn't nearly as confident, and he wasn't as adept on the offensive end. So he's really been the huge surprise in all of this. And so now, you know, Malik Hall was preseason all conference. You know, we knew about him. Joey Hauser was a preseason newcomer of the year when he first transferred from Marquette. So I was always waiting for him to have a bust out game like this. And then you've got veteran guards. And to me, Jaden Akins really hasn't been consistent yet, but he's got the most upside on that team. So Michigan State, you know, you couple that with the Hall of Fame coach like Tom Izzo, and you're starting to see that I think we underestimated everybody around the league underestimated the Spartans a little bit.
You know, well, the Big Ten in general, there was the first initial polls come out, and you've got Indiana and then Illinois and Michigan at the very bottom in the 23-24. And I'm like, man, that's not the Big Ten that I know. And they were not being given the respect. Michigan State, like you said, Purdue, I don't think that they're going to challenge to win the league, but they're going to challenge every team that can win the league. Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and Michigan State are the 4 to me that are going to be in the top 4. Purdue, like I said, I think they're going to be able to compete with every team that's going to win the league, but I don't think they can win the league. But Illinois is a team, not to blow your head up, Mr. Illini, but they have reloaded, and they're so quietly. I'm telling you, they might be the favorite to win the league. People just don't know that because they don't know what they have over there, what Brad Underwood is reloaded with, which is a lot of talent.
Oh, they've got a tremendous amount of talent, and we'll find out tomorrow because they're going to play UCLA out in Las Vegas, and UCLA is a national title contender. So, you know, Illinois had, and I'm putting the air quotes in there, a secret scrimmage with Kansas where they played. They won that scrimmage, and so this is a confident Illini team, similar to Indiana. They can go 10 deep, and I think that Brad Underwood's going to try to keep it at 10 deep as long as he can based on the way that they want to play. Illinois wants to pressure. They want to be fast break. They want to be up-tempo, and they've got so many different weapons and guys. And, you know, for Illinois, I think the difference with them is that Terrence Shannon Jr. at Texas Tech has been in big-time pressurized games. Matthew Myers won a national championship with Baylor. He's been in pressurized games. So when you look at guys that have been in games like they're going to face tomorrow or what they'll face in February on the road in Bloomington or in East Lansing or in West Lafayette, these guys have been in those scenarios before. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they can accept their roles. That's going to be the toughest thing. And I think that's going to be tough at Indiana as well. you've got a lot of guys that want to play and they want to play badly. So how do you keep people happy that maybe aren't getting the type of minutes? Indiana and Illinois, those are two teams, in my opinion, that will have to figure that out more than any other teams in the conference. But I do want to say this: don't sleep on the Iowa Hawkeyes. You heard this here first.
That's who I left them off. They're also a team like I put in the Purdue category.
I'm telling you, they're gonna be right there in the thick of things down the stretch in the Big Ten Conference, because nobody's looking at them right now. They've got a plethora of scores. Chris Murray, I don't think he'll be as good as Keegan, but I think he'll be a 15 to 18 point score per night, and they're a dangerous squad as well.
Well, I was going to mention they have another Murray brother, but you also have two more McCaffreys.
Yes.
So they're going to have some continuity. Those guys were already there, so that's continuity. We'll see what they've added to that, but yeah, they're not going to just fall away by any stretch of the means. So the Big Ten is going to be fun again. And one other thing, having Indiana mentioned back at the top, I think that is important for college basketball. I think it's important for the Big Ten. People want the good programs to be good. I just have always believed that. You want the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the Kansases and the Indianas to be good. And I think it is good for the Big Ten to have, they don't have to win the league, but they need to be challenging for the league. I just think that helps the league overall.
Jim, you and I have talked about this before. You can walk into any venue in the Big Ten and you're not going to see as many championships banners as you do in Bloomington. And so when Indiana's great and good or great, it elevates the conference. And people at Illinois, they don't like me saying that. People at Michigan State, or at Michigan, they don't like me saying that, but it's the truth. And, when Indiana is good, like you said, the nation pays a little bit more attention. The conference gets a little bit more cachet, I would say. And so right now we're starting to get into a time where we're having some really good non-conference battles for the Big Ten teams. And so Indiana going to Xavier, Illinois playing UCLA, Michigan State taking Gonzaga to the wire and then beating Kentucky. All these opportunities will elevate the conference, where in years past, the conference has not done well in these non-conference battles. So hopefully Michigan State got the league off on the right start, and Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, all these other Purdue can follow suit.
Okay, I'll put you on the spot. I mean, do you see a Final Four team in the Big Ten right now, or?
I would not be surprised to see Illinois or Indiana. I mean, because here's what I think you need. There's three components that you need for a Final Four national title team. You got to have pros. You got to have guys that are going to play at the NBA level. Indiana, Illinois have that. Michigan has that. You got to have depth. Indiana, Illinois have that. You've got to have a guy that can bring you home. Somebody that you can ride, like, look, Trace, bring us home, baby. Get us 3 buckets down the stretch. He can definitely do that. I think Jalen Hood-Schifino will be able to do that at some point. So Indiana has a couple guys, in my opinion, that can bring them down the stretch. Illinois has guys in Terrence Shannon Jr., Matthew Meyer, when he's still kind of getting his sea legs together. Those two guys can bring you down the stretch. And I think those three components, Illinois and Indiana have. And I think that one of those, and I'd love to see both of them make the Final Four. It'd be great for the conference. But I think that those two teams in particular have those three components that would make them Final Four contenders.
And it would be great because the Big Ten could certainly use that. And whether it's Indiana or Illinois, to get back to that. Speaking of these Big Ten games, Indiana had gotten away from that. Their program it's been ups and downs, and had normally had great preseason games, the Kentucky series, and that went away. Now they're back. They're going to Xavier. Of course, that's part of the Gavitt games, but you've got the ACC Big Ten Challenge with North Carolina coming into Bloomington. Indiana goes to Las Vegas after that to take on Arizona. The week after that, they go to play at the Fog Allen at Kansas. That's the stuff that has been missed and needed But you mentioned Indiana goes out, whether whomever it is in the conference, whether it's Michigan State playing in the Champions Classic or Illinois playing out against UCLA in Las Vegas. Those big time games are needed for the league. But here's a great chance for Indiana because they have several of them coming up.
No, and when you have a team that you think is a title contender, whether it's conference, whether it's a national title, you want to test yourself and you want to find out where you are early. And that's a gauntlet of a schedule. But if there's a team that can handle it, it's Indiana. I mean, who wouldn't want to do this, right? Who wouldn't want to go to Fog Allen and play Kansas? Come on now. If you're a baller, you want to play against the best because you want to figure out who you are. And those guys, I mean, like, the thing that really impresses me about Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson, I've gotten to know them over the years, and it sounds cliche, but it's not. They really are proud to have that jersey on. And so, it's like you said, Jim, it's been a while since Indiana's had these type of challenges. The Christian Watford jumper to beat Kentucky. I was in the building that night. I was there. And so those have been missing, but now Indiana's getting a chance to try themselves against the best in the country, and that's what you want to see in the non-conference.
Also, who would want to go to Vegas in December when it's warmer than Bloomington, Indiana, to place Arizona? I think that'd be a pretty good trip too, right?
Oh man, and you know what? Look, here's the thing, guys. I think we did I don't know if this is considered a curse word, but we did a piss poor job of rolling out college basketball. It was just like, it's like, okay, here's the start of the season. But where are the marquee matchups? Where's the excitement? Where's it's the busiest time on the sports calendar of the year. And you got to do something to get fans' attention throughout. College basketball is getting squeezed to March Madness, and that's it. But Big Ten fans know that we love college basketball year round. And so these matchups are really key for the sport to get eyeballs on the sport. So the fact that Indiana is willing to play Arizona and Kansas and Xavier in the Gavitt games, or Illinois goes up against UCLA, or Michigan State is in the Champions Classic, these are so important, not only for the conference, but it's for the sport. And I get very passionate about this because I think we need to do a much better job of having college basketball stick out in the busiest sports time of the year.